We will turn to our next speaker, Engineer Gamini Senanayake. He has 40 years of experience as a professional engineer. He's a chartered mechanical engineer with a Master of Business Administration and has served as a founder director of Industry Service Bureau and also as the chairman of Industrial Development Board of Ceylon. In addition, he has worked in many local and international projects regarding sustainable consumption and production. So I warmly invite Gamini to the digital podium for sharing your experience to enlighten our audience regarding sustainable development. Sir, online podium is up to you.
Thank you, Vidura. Let me share my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, sir, you can see it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vidura. Thank you for the introduction and the compliment. And also, thank you very much, IEEE, for inviting me to this session, very valuable session. And special thank to Timira Chandrasekhara for getting me involved in this great initiative. And also, I'm very privileged to be sandwiched between two eminent speakers. We have just listened to one of the eminent, or I would say, celebrity, young celebrity, who just concluded the speech. And also, so it is a challenge for me to live up to your expectation after listening to a wonderful speech. She has covered, I think, given us a very good foundation for us to go ahead with our presentation. And mine will be followed by another highly acclaimed academic of this country, Professor Senanayake. So I am indeed privileged to be in between these two. So the topic suggested to me is to talk about sustainable production. Yeah. So after listening to Michelle, now we realize the importance of the sustainable production to contain, to protect the environment. Yeah. My presentation today, during this 25 minutes or 30 minutes time, this is going to be the outline. I will be very briefly touch upon what is sustainable development without spending too much of time, since we know very well what this is. Then before I get into the subject proper sustainable production, I also would like to share with you two important concepts helping the sustainable production, which is life cycle thinking and the circular economy. Then under sustainable production, we will discuss with resource efficient greener production, design for sustainability, eco-innovation, and finally the holistic waste management. And at the last point, we will also try to understand what is a sustainable product. Yeah? So this is going to be my outline. Starting with the sustainable development, this is a very broad, high-level definition. There are many definitions of this nature. This is one of them. Meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So it is meet the needs of the present that we are today, without compromising the ability of the future generation, including your generation and the generation unborn, the next generation. So this is a high level definition. And also this is a more, I would say, a practical definition. Economic development that is socially inclusive and environmentally sustainable. So these are the three pillars of sustainable development, which we have to have a balance, economy, society, and the environment. Of course, for human development, economic development is essential, without which we cannot expect, a better tomorrow. But without disregarding the environmental sustainability and the social inclusiveness. So we need to have a fine balance of these three pillars. So beyond that, I will not go into the sustainable development. Then, as I said before, two important concepts for sustainable production, life cycle thinking. So life cycle thinking, normally what we are used to is to look at what we call user phase. Yeah? So we consider the environmental and socio-economic impacts of the user phase. But what is required? Not only the user phase, we need to consider the resource consumption and associated pollution in all stages, yeah, from the production until the end of life management. Yeah. So the user phase, if you take a vehicle, the user phase is when you drive the vehicle, when you use the vehicle. So if it is a food, the time you consume. If it is a water bowl, time you drink, that's the user phase. Yeah. So what it says, the life cycle thinking, it is not enough for you to focus on the user phase. It's, the resource consumption or the pollution aspect, but the entire stages of the life cycle. So these are the steps, major steps in raw material extraction. This is what we get from the nature. Everything is made from, what we extract from the nature, raw material extraction. Then we have the design and the manufacture production, the second stage. Then once you do that, then we need to, take it to the end user. So you need to have packaging, and also you need to distribute, take from one place to place of production to the place of use. Yeah. Then comes the most important phase of it, what we are used to, the user phase. Okay. Every product has a lifetime. So end of life, what we do. Okay, so life cycle thinking, what we are expected to do is to concentrate in all stages, in the focus, pay our attention to all these stages, not only the user phase. Okay. Then also this is, now this system, this is what we have been doing. We call it take, make, use and throw. The linear economic model. Take from the environment or the nature, hoping that the resources are infinite. Then make what we want, yeah, or make what we think best for the use of the people. Then start using it. At the end of it, you just throw it to the environment. Yeah. So this is what we have been doing. Yeah, the linear, the model. Yeah? So this life cycle thinking, so it cannot be a linear process like this. It has to be a cyclic process. So this is where you start extraction of raw material, then the design and production, packaging and distribution, then the user phase, use and maintenance. Okay. Then what you do at the end of the life. So we have many different options. Either we can reuse it, or you can recycle. If these two are not possible, even we can try to recover some of these materials, maybe the energy. Yeah. So if any of these things, is not possible, then the last resort, last option is for us to dispose it or incinerate it. Okay. So this is life cycle thinking. What we're trying to do now, what is happening, linear model, we take, make, use and throw. Major part of our resources are going back into the environment in different forms. Yeah. not in desirable forms. So here what we are trying to do is to minimize this component, put everything possible back into the system, have a closed cycle. So that is life cycle thinking. Along with this, the concept of circular economy, as against the linear economy, what we have discussed. A lot of people now talk about the circular economy, and some people also, ask question, what it is and how can this be done, how can we understand it? It is a very simple concept, as you could see here. This is the linear, the model. What we do now, when you want to eat a banana, so we eat the banana, but we don't eat banana peel. So you take it and use it and throw the peel. Okay. If you are disciplined enough, you will put it into a garbage bin like this. Or else some people, very responsible, even they can throw it to the open space, maybe the road. So you have seen what could happen with this kind of thing. So it is take, make, use, and throw. Okay. Even after putting into the dustbin, we don't know what is going to happen to this peel. Okay, that is the linear, the model. In circular economic model, what is going to happen? So you don't put this into a basket, or you just don't throw it to the environment, but you make use of it. And here, this example is, this is fed to a cow. Okay, we don't eat banana peel, but they love it. Okay, then they digest this and give us milk. So the milk can come back to us and close in the loop. So this is the circular economy. So what is required is for us to uh, move from the linear economic model to the circular economic model. So this transition, so what we used to do in the past, again, the take, make, use, throw, hoping that, the resources are abundant, yeah, infinite. We used to take resources at our will. Then at the end of it, we throw it to the environment. Maybe to the water resources, the land, air, and all that. Waste was a problem. Waste was considered as a problem in the past. So this is the linear model. Now, what is required for sustainable production is to consider waste as a resources, not as a problem. So you need to close the loop. So this is the linear, the model. You extract raw material, manufacture, then this is the service, this is the user phase, this is the delivery, and this is the user phase. So here, either you can say maintain and reuse, repair and maintain, reuse, or you can reuse, so say redistribute, the second cycle, blue cycle, then the purple cycle, refurbish and remanufacture, the last cycle, recycle and recycle. So this is, with all these things, you can close the loop. You can close the loop, but as you could see, the smaller the circle, the smaller the impact and the bigger the benefit. So if you can use, maintain, repair, and use it for a long time, that would be the best. If it is not possible, you can go to the next stage and likewise. But ultimately, you put everything back into the system without putting it back to the environment in undesirable forms. Okay, so these are the two concepts I'll be using to explain the sustainable production. So this slide summarizes the different stages of sustainable production. We call it resource efficient cleaner production, RECP. So here there are clearly defined, the different steps, starting with what is called dematerializing of products. Dematerializing. Okay, you use less material, natural resources. developing new products that require less material and energy over their life cycle, not only for manufacturing, but the entire life cycle. So dematerializing. So this is what is happening at the design stage, yeah, dematerializing. Then when you go to the next level, that is the increasing process efficiency. So now you have a good design, less material, less energy. Then you try to reduce the intensity of the energy use, material use, chemical and water. So the water efficiency, material efficiency, energy efficiency, and the reduction of the harmful chemical usage. So these are the process, increasing the process efficiency. There you need to have technology. You may have to change your person way of doing it, technological process changes and so on. Then the third level, while doing this, you need to, as Michelle explained, we need to reduce the emission, okay, minimum, which is causing global warming, climate change, the temperature increase, and all these, the extreme weather, events and so on. So our next, of course, all these things are connected. You can't just take, in isolation. Adopting clean technologies to minimize the generation of greenhouse gases. Non-energy greenhouses meaning maybe the other gaseous emissions, dust and things like that. Yeah. Then comes the next one, switching to low carbon inputs, using renewable and other low carbon sources of energy and materials. Okay, this is very important. This is exactly what Professor Ekanayake is going to discuss today. So I will not go into detail. And then at the end of it, so now we are at the end of the life cycle, closing the carbon loop. So what we do, if we cannot, do the reuse, recycle, and then we go for recovery without, putting it to the environment. Recovering organic wastes for reuse as feed for energy and material. So if you follow all these steps, then you can close the loop. Then we can attain what is called sustainable production. Now I am here focusing only the industrial side of it. When you say sustainable production, it covers agriculture as well. As Michelle very well explained, this is another area which you have to have, very intensive, the introduction of, the sustainable production concepts. So in resource efficient cleaner production, so there are two main things what we adopt. The first thing is pollution prevention rather than end of the pipe treatment. Okay, so the end of the pipe treatment, what we do, we allow waste to generate and try to manage them. But here, the focus here in this approach, sustainable production, you try to prevent the generation of waste. Yeah, generation of waste. Then this life cycle perspective, I think we have discussed enough. So these are the two things what is required in the resource sustainable production. Then there are a few other things which are important. Design for sustainability. Design for sustainability. Here, also we need to consider the changing, altering stages of production process. Okay, design for sustainability. So we are trying to create or design a product, manufacture a product with enhance the quality, functionality, and the environment performance. Of course, when you do all these things, so naturally the cost also will come down. Okay, this is what we're trying to attain. Yeah, by doing that, you can create a win-win situation for everybody, for manufacturers, the manufacturers, and the consumers, and also the public, and ultimately the environment. But unfortunately, most of the products are not designed for sustainability. Now, if you look around, Of course, there had been a lot of improvements in certain products. Now, if you take uh, this example, the mobile phone, what we used to, when the mobile phones were introduced, I think they were about, 3 kilos in weight. But now it has come down to, very a smaller level. You can take it in your palm. So that's the material, so dematerialized, that has happened. But now at the same time, uh, some of these products are designed for obsolescence, uh, purposely built in this kind of thing so that they can sell more. Yeah, products are getting outdated very often, so that you need to go for another one. So here, design for sustainability, what we're talking about, without leaving it a long time. Maybe you don't throw the item away, but maybe you replace part of it, standardize, so that you can give a second life. Yeah? So that kind of thing. Then the eco innovation, which is very important. So every stage, now we have gone through all these steps in the production. So every stage you need to find out whether the modification or novel solutions are possible. It can be a product or goods or service, maybe a process change, or the way the market approach, or how you do it in the organization. So the innovation, eco-innovation is possible in all these areas. Okay. So it is, so this is, eco-innovation is also builds upon resource efficient cleaner production and safer and responsible production, and design for sustainability to embed sustainability into company business model. So this needs to be brought into the business model of the companies. Yeah. So here, eco-innovation, there are many ways of incorporating eco-innovation into the production, incorporate sustainability throughout all business operation, again, based on life cycle thinking. So this is very important. Life cycle thinking in cooperation with partners across the value chain. So when you consider the life cycle, then it's not only you need to consider the value chain actors, yeah, across the value chain. So the next slide, I will give you some possibilities. This is not an exhaustive list. It depends on the situation. You can think of many different ways of doing it. So this is the value chain. Again, starting with raw material, you have the design in the manufacturing, then you bring that to the retail, yeah, then the end of the life. So this is the value chain. Yeah, this is the value chain. And these are the possibilities, some possibilities mentioned here. As I said, this is not, the conclusive, and you can go on. That is what is important. You need to think of, new ways of doing it. Now, there are some examples given here. If it is raw material, what can we do? We can look for alternative sources of energy. Yeah, if you are using fossil fuel, you can think of using renewable energy. Okay, Professor Senanayake will discuss about in more detail. Alternative solution for resource extraction. So we extract resource from the nature. Maybe you take less material or different material, yeah, less harmful material. And the way you extract, or without making any harm to the environment, that kind of things you can consider. Then this is important, design for zero waste to the landfill. Yeah, design for zero waste, closing the loop. That has to be brought in at the design stage. Yeah, design for sustainability or design zero waste. Then use of byproducts for raw material inputs. Okay, someone else byproduct can be the raw material. So these are some possibilities that the raw materials take. When we come to manufacturing state, also you have a lot of possibilities. You can optimize the process, alternative components with higher added values, and lighter products and packaging. You can make it like the examples I quote to. Even the television, we have seen the evolution. We used to have very big one with the with very heavy TVs. Now it has come down to, very thin, the lighter. And also with that, when you have lighter product, you can also reduce the packaging. Then reduce the manufacturing time. Yeah, so you can make your process efficient. So you, within a short time, you can produce more with less material. So these are some possibilities. Then even there are possibilities at the retail level. Yeah, how do you do it? Alternative distribution models. How do we take our goods to the market? To the end user. How do you distribute? Yeah, alternative distribution modes you can think of. Optimize space and placement time. Yeah, now when you design these products, even you can think of how we are going to place this in shelf, and that kind of thing. Then attractive prices for the consumer. When you do all these things, then naturally the prices will come down. So then you can share some of these savings with your consumers. Okay, and the light and smaller products and packaging. Yeah, light and so these are some possibilities. Then the finally end of life. So you need to think of different way, innovative consumption solution. Yeah, some examples: service systems focusing on product functionality and quality. Maybe you go for services instead of buying a product. Good examples in the say transport sector. Now concepts like the Uber. So you don't own a vehicle, but you buy the service. Yeah, you buy the service. So many people could share that kind of approach. So likewise, there are many possibilities what you could bring in at different stages. So with that, finally the holistic waste management. So the circular economy, this is the waste management hierarchy. So this is the prevention part. So this is the most important, the most preferred. So we need to find out ways and means of preventing the generation of waste. Yeah, not allowing the waste generation and trying to manage. So starting with this, then reuse, recycle, recovery, and this is the last resort, least preferred. Okay, that we have discussed here. So this is also very important. With this, I will also share with you this little diagram here, giving you the evolution of waste management. Okay, now this waste management, the pollution control, the environmental protection, and all that regulations. Realizing that you can't go on like this. Regulation, compliances, and things like that, like discharge standards, came into being in 1970s. Then 1980s, we started, giving technical solutions, but these solutions were aiming at end of life treatment. Yeah, we allow the waste to generate, then we try to have in the water treatment, the solid waste, the treatment, then the gas treatment, purification, pollution control, and things like that. Then in 2000, we started looking at the waste management as integrated things. So gaseous emission, the effluent, and the solid waste, but in single medium waste, like silos, different things. Water pollution in integrated, but still in an isolated manner. Then became what is called holistic waste management multimedia, because all these three are interconnected. You cannot treat them in isolation. So that is how this was holistic waste management came into being. And now finally we are now talking about the circular economy, which is closing the loop, zero waste, zero waste. So then with this, I will, before I conclude my presentation, I will also uh, try to discuss with you, or try to understand what is a sustainable product. Sustainable production is required for us to have a sustainable product. Sustainable product is important for us to have a sustainable development. If we have to protect the environment, if we have the social inclusiveness, everything what we make should be sustainable. Yeah. So these are some attributes of a sustainable product. These products should be resource efficient, the material efficient. They should be energy efficient, less emission reducing. It has to be safe to the user. And these products should be, we should be able to reuse, and we should be able to recycle. And also these products can have a recycled content in it. If you see the motor vehicles now, most of the plastic items are recycled items. Yeah? So recycled content. And at the end of life, if it is biodegradable, organic, that then there will not be any harm to the environment. So these are some attributes. Some products can have more attributes, some can have less attributes, but the intention here is to make this sustainable. Yeah. So this is my last slide. So sustainable production is very important for us to have sustainable development and also to reduce the GHG emission, the carbon emission, so that we have a better environment for ourselves and for our future generation. So with that, I conclude my presentation. I'll be happy to come back at the question and answer session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Engineer Senanayake.